Hi friends, welcome back or welcome if you are new. My name is Mali and today we're going to attempt to read the Women's Prize long list before the shortlist is announced. And I say attempt because I got about 5 books that I'm interested in reading and I have about 3 weeks to read these books. In the midst of reading other books for other videos, I am just not sure that I'm gonna get through all 5 of them. The long list came out about a week ago and it just got me really excited to read the long list because there are so many books that I actually have not heard about. I was really glad that All Fours was nominated, but apart from All Fours, I actually haven't read anything else on that list, and there were so many books that were new to me I never really heard about before then, and so I just really excited to read these books. So the first long list of book that I really want to read, and the only one that I own physically, is Good Girl by Aria Apper. This is my art copy. It got sent to me a while ago and I've been interested in it for a little bit. All I know about this is that it's set in Berlin, Germany, and this girl who's Afghan has a really party girl lifestyle, and I think she falls into the wrong crowd. She gets involved with a boyfriend who's very narcissistic and abusive, and I think eventually racism knocks on her doorstep. It knocks on her community and she has to answer the question, who does she want to be? I've heard so much good praise about this book, so I'm really excited to get to this one finally after owning it for a couple months. The next book that I really want to read is The Ministry of Time. Now, this book was met with quite a bit of disappointment from a lot of people that read quite similarly to me, and this does feel like something very out of my comfort zone. It's very sci-fi, very much romance, but the reason why I want to try it out is because I actually put in a Libby hole for it a couple months ago and it's just about to come in. I'm really intrigued to try it out. Definitely a lot more lighthearted than I usually read, but it could be good for me. It could be good to try something else. This is a sci-fi romance. I think this woman is sent to live with this guy from the 18,000s, and she's a modern woman, and he is very perplexed. He is flabbergasted by all her modern things. She talks about Spotify, washing machines, and that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm intrigued by it, but we'll see how that goes. The other book that I really want to read that I actually have not heard about before the long list came out is Nesting. I am so intrigued by this one because it is Irish literature and I love Irish literature, and it explores a family dynamic. So this woman, alongside her daughters, packs up her life and leaves her abusive husband. Another book from the long list that I really want to read and that I haven't heard about is The Persians. This is a family saga, so it explores generations, I think 3 or 4 generations of women from this Persian family. Like I said, I just love an exploration about families, so if I can get a deep history about a family, I'm gonna read it. And now the last book that I really want to try to read from the long list is The Dream Hotel. I have never heard about this title before the long list. This is about a woman. She is stopped in the airport, I think it is. They're saying you're a danger to your husband, to society. We need to basically determine if you are safe to be back in humanity. I think the way they track this is by algorithms and tech and that type of things. I am really interested in that. I love a literary dystopian. Those are the 5 books that I'm going to try to read in this video. And I say try because again, I got about 3 weeks to read these books and I don't have the other ones available with me. Like the only book I have physically is Good Girl. I have The Time of Ministry on my Kindle, but then the other 3, I don't own them. I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy a copy of them or get them from the Kindle library. I have holds on them on my Libby app, but they're like a couple weeks out. They're like literally months out. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get those books just yet, but I just want to start this video and get the ball rolling. And I think it goes without saying, but the first book we're gonna be reading in this video is Good Girl. So thought I will give you guys a little midway check-in on Good Girl because I am absolutely loving this. I'm 134 pages in and I read the majority of this yesterday. I just could not stop reading once I started. I've had a couple people ask me, well, I say couple, was one person, but they brought up a really good comparison. So they asked me, how does this compare to other titles like Berlin and Other People's Clothes? Both of these books feature lost 20-something-year-old women in Berlin, also involved in the party girl Berlin lifestyle. And I think either both of these or one of these feature like a toxic relationship. And I can already say that this has a lot more nuance to it. This is a lot better than both of these books. I think I gave both of these books like 3-star, and I don't really remember them. Like, they're not memorable, to be quite honest with you. And I think both of these protagonists as well were white or Eastern European. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I read this book a while ago, but I don't remember them being people of color. Whereas with Nila, she's a Muslim girl, she's only 19 years old, and there's a lot more nuance on this because we follow her being a party girl, but she's a party girl because she wants to forget who she is. She doesn't like that she's Muslim. She grapples with being Muslim in this city where being Muslim is quite dangerous. When people ask her, oh, where are you from? She says Greece or Italy. To be quite honest with you, I was a little bit nervous about that party girl lifestyle moment because I'm not sure that I gel with it, but I really liking it in this case because it has a lot more nuance to it, not because she's bored and she's nothing else to do, you know? So she is trying to forget who she is while at the same time trying to find out who she wants to be. She is an aspiring artist. She likes taking photography. She comes from a very traditional Muslim family. Like, they want her to be good. They want her to be who they want her to be. They want her to be, you know, humble and conservative, and like they are quite disappointed by her party girl lifestyle. She has to be a good girl for her parents. She has to be a good girl socially, try to fit in with everybody else when she obviously doesn't fit in. And then she also is trying to be a good girl for this guy that she met 2 decades older than very clearly a relationship that's gonna go very sour very quickly, a relationship that's gonna change her. So she's quite naive. I don't think she's very sexually experienced because she is with this older guy, like I said, and she is just very confused about the game that they're playing. She doesn't really understand it. So she's trying to be a good girl for that. And I just like, baby girl, you need to escape. You need to get out of there. He's gonna eat you up, and not in a sexy way, baby. I'm just really liking this. Like I said, I'm really liking the added nuance with Nila's character, with her family. They grew up poor. They lived in a cubist type of apartment building she's very quite embarrassed by. No one really knows where she comes from. No one knows about her family. I'm really liking this added exploration on being an immigrant because her parents came from Kabul, and back in Kabul they were doctors. They were well off, but having to immigrate to Berlin, they lost their medical license. They couldn't practice medicine with their Kabul license in a whole different city, and so they grew up poor. They grew up in food stamps, and they grew up just being ashamed. Her dad, for example, will work in McDonald's and work the late shift and like hide in the back, not want anybody to see him. So yeah, I'm just really liking this so far. Like I said, I could not stop reading yesterday once I started. I read the majority of this yesterday. I've had a couple of people ask me like, oh, do you recommend this so far? And I do. I really do. This is really, really good. This is a really strong start for this video because I'm just absolutely loving this. So I have since finished Good Girl by Aria Aber, and I really like this. At surface level, this seems to be just another coming of age, young 20-something-year-old girl living a party girl lifestyle, being lost, but this has so much nuance to it. There's a lot about identity, shame, guilt, grief even, and I really enjoyed all the layers to this novel. I enjoyed peeling back the layers of Nila's identity and Nila's shame with her identity, and I just really like this. I really did. I'm so happy that the Women's Prize finally made me read this. So that was Good Girl, and I really enjoyed this. So definitely urge you to pick this up if you have this in your TBR, or if it's on your radar. I think it's worth trying it out yourself and seeing how you like it. So remember when I said that I didn't know if I was gonna buy the books that I'm interested in from the long list? I went ahead and bought them anyways. Shout out to the government for giving me back my tax return and sponsoring this haul. I have since started The Dream Hotel by Laila Lalami since finishing Good Girl. I'm actually reading it on my Kindle because a couple days ago, my Libby haul for this one came in literally after buying the book. So this is set in a not so distant far-off future where people are constantly being monitored and recorded. People's data as well is monitored and used to track people and their risk score. So our narrator has a risk score of 518, and that is because she supposedly has been dreaming about harming her husband, and she is sent to a center to fix that dream score, and she can't leave the center until she is declared safe. So basically the center is a place where people are sent when they are at risk of committing a crime. They haven't committed any crime though, but they could be. So they're sent there in order to stop the potential future crime. And there's a lot of critique on algorithms and data mining and monitoring surveillance, and I really like this so far. You guys know that I love a literary dystopia. I'm just about to hit the 100-page mark. It's a little bit slow, but I like the setup to this, so I'm enjoying it anyways. I'll see you when I have more updates. Okay.
Trusting your instincts, realize that knowing looks different to each. When living authentic, do more explore.
I just finished filming my April TBR jar video, and I realized I have updates for this vlog. Just a couple days ago, I finished Dream Hotel by Laila Lalami. I finished this a couple nights ago actually, and I stayed up until almost 2 a.m. to finish this, which was a little bit weird because this book has such a slow pacing to the plot, but it was that same slow pacing that kept me really intrigued to know what was going on. Like, it definitely built up the intrigue for me, and I was just very, very captivated. I just wanted to keep reading to find out what happened. Sometimes chapter will end and it was like a kind of cliffhanger. I'm like, oh my god, I have to keep reading. So I was very, very invested in Sarah and her predicament and her life in the retention center. So I didn't mind the slow pacing, and in fact I barely noticed it, but in hindsight this is quite slow. It's been a while since I thought about that show, but it really reminded me of Dark Mirror. It follows a world where it's unfamiliar yet familiar because of the dark tech thing, because I can so vividly see the world coming close to this in a couple of years. Like, we really have algorithms in social media and companies tracking our data and being sold our data and using our data for whatever reasons. I can see this shit happening. Maybe not to the same extent where people mine data from our dreams. So yeah, this is just really, really good. I really liked seeing Sarah's fight for her innocence and for her dignity and for the simple pleasures of mundanity of every day. This is a really strong contender in the Women's Prize long list, and I'm really glad that I read this. So that was his Dream Hotel. After this, I picked up Nesting by Roisin O'Donnell. I actually picked this up yesterday, which I'm just now realizing that doesn't give you anything because the timeline for this video is all over the place. But yesterday, it was March 22nd. I just hit the 100-page mark. And just in case you guys don't remember what this book is about, this is the one where we follow a young mother who, in the middle of the day, she packs up her things and her children and she leaves the domestic life that she shares with her husband. And I hate her husband so much. He's such a textbook narcissist and gaslighter. I'm so glad that she is leaving this relationship, but at the same time though, we see her struggling with this mentally. She's doubting her decision of leaving her husband because technically he hasn't hit her, so it's not that bad, and maybe she's just being a little bit dramatic. So she's doubting her abilities to provide a stable life for her daughters. Her daughters are very, very young. They're currently living in a hotel that deals with cases similar to hers. This is quite dark in its topic, but it's not too heavy-handed. I'm really intrigued on following Sierra, which is our main character, and seeing how she passes this hurdle, how she brings stability into her daughter's life, and what comes next for Sierra and her daughters. Midway checking for the Women's Prize long list is going really, really good so far. This is another really strong read on the long list, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
Go deep, mute out the chatter, feel it, burn off the fire.
It is March 31st and the shortlist will be announced in about 2 days time. Quite excited for the shortlist. I don't want to do predictions because I haven't read the entire shortlist, but I'm hoping to see all fours on the shortlist, to be quite honest with you. I wouldn't be mad if Good Girls also shortlisted. Anyways, I have updates. A couple days ago, I finished Nesting by Roisin O'Donnell, and this was incredibly powerful, raw, tender at the same time. It sort of felt like a thriller in some parts, because just when you thought, oh yes, finally a happy ending, some more shit will happen. I had my heart in my throat the majority of the time I was reading this. A lot of this was actually quite mundane, which I didn't mind at all. I was never bored reading this because I was so rooting for Ciara and her children to have that peaceful day to day. So like any little victory, I was just so happy and elated for them. I really enjoy this. I really enjoy the messaging in this. You know, not every single type of domestic violence is visible. After nesting, I picked up The Ministry of Time on my Kindle. My Libby Hole came for it a couple days ago, and I was really excited at first, but also a little bit nervous because I was not sure how I would like it, and I was right to have doubts. The Ministry of Time is my first DNF from the long list. So basically, the Ministry of Time follows this young woman who works at the Ministry of Time. Her assignment is to do with time travel. So the institution saps different people from different centuries in the past and brings them to the 21st century London. And all these people in the past have died in their own timeline. Our main character's purpose is to live with her assigned person so that she can monitor, make sure that they're acclimating to the 21st century, that they're well mentally and physically. And so our main character's person is this guy that died in the, I forgot his time period, but like the 18,000s, I think it was. He died during an Arctic expedition. You're kind of immediately put right in the action of them living together. You get like 2 or 3 pages and then boom, they're living together already. I gave it a fair chance. I read 100 pages of this. Nothing was going nowhere. So like I didn't know the characters either, which I just don't like. You guys know that I'm a very character driven person in my books. I also didn't like that the majority of this book is literally conversations, and it's not even interesting conversation. It's just like the most recent chapter or the most recent scene that I read was that our main character, she bought home a bicycle. The 18,000 Arctic Explorer guy was like, oh, what's that? And she's like, that's a bike. Oh, what's that? That's a tire. What's it made of? Rubber. Like, why? Like, why do I need to read that? Like, that's so boring. And then the next scene is her teaching him how to ride a bike, and I'm like, I just don't care. Unfortunately, I just don't care. I don't like it. I don't like it. I just couldn't see myself reading another 200 pages of that bullshit. The humor also did not work for me. It was very, not even that funny. It's just like very like deadpan humor. It's not even interesting with the time travel aspect because our main character doesn't try and travel. Our main character is so fucking annoying. I swear to God, she reads like a 5-year-old. She's not supposed to ask certain things about the mission to her superiors, yet she will ask anyway, kind of like she's dared not to, like a kid. I also feel like I don't know her besides the fact that she's Cambodian. So I DNF'd the Ministry of Time, and then yesterday night I picked up the Persians. So in this one, we follow this family who are all Persians. They live in America and they're quite wealthy. I'm pretty sure everybody in that family is sort of like a fuck up. The book literally opens up with an aunt being bailed out from jail from her niece because she was accused of prostitution. Wild already. I read 20 pages of this last night, so I couldn't tell you that much about it, but first 20 pages alone, I don't really like our main character. Well, not our main character, but like the aunt. I don't like her, and we do get a perspective on her. I don't really like her. I just don't. I don't like that they're wealthy either. She literally bought like $30,000 worth of watches and then she threw them away. Why? I don't know, but that type of shit just pisses me off. That's the Persian so far. Like I said, I don't have much to go on off. I just started it last night. I don't know how I will like the characters. I really hope that the aunt gets a wake-up call because she continues with this behavior. I do see myself DNFing this because so far I just don't like her character. But yeah, that's my update so far. This is the last book that I'm reading for the long list. I would like to keep reading more, but I'll probably read them off video because this video will be too long. Good morning. Please excuse the face, the hair. I woke up a little bit ago and I got so excited because I remembered that today is the shortlist announcement. The shortlist was announced last night at around 3 a.m. for me. I was not gonna do that. I was not gonna stay up until 3 a.m. I was actually out like a light by like 12 p.m. last night. I was just so tired after coming home from work. Before we get on with the shortlist though, I do want to give you guys a quick update on the Persians. And my update is that I DNF'd this. It was my second DNF in this video. I'm so sad because I thought I was gonna absolutely adore this because I do usually love a family saga. I love a family story. However, the blurb doesn't mention anything about how fucking annoying and insufferable the characters are. I don't like following rich people. I just don't like reading about them. And I remember talking to you guys about how in the first chapter, one of the characters already gave me a really bad impression with like throwing away $30,000 worth of jewelry. That show of wealth I don't like. So already we started off a really bad foot with our main character, and then we got her point of view, and we got how she escaped Persia, leaving behind a daughter. She's also like the worst person in the world, like moral wise and mother wise. She's a horrible parent. First it was supposed to be for a couple months, but then the revolution happened, and so they escaped to America. And so we do get a little backstory about that. That was interesting. I thought it was like, you know, I thought it was redeeming itself. I got up until a little bit under page 100, and I decided that I actually don't care about this family. Like, I really don't care, and I don't want to read any more of this. It wasn't that bad up until when I read, because we were still getting backstory from multiple other characters, and that was kind of interesting. But I just don't really care that much about the characters to keep reading. Yesterday I was in a really weird mood actually with reading, because I DNF'd this, and then I started some other book, and then I started another book. So I have like 2 books in the back that I'm probably gonna keep reading. If this is shortlisted, I could maybe pick it up again and see it through. So that being said, let's go on to the shortlist. I'm so excited. Got my laptop here. Let's check their Instagram page. Is there like a reel or something? I think it's just a static post. Oh my god, I'm scared. Good Girl made it. I'm so happy. Okay, so the shortlist is Good Girl by Ari Aber, All Fours by Miranda July. I'm so happy actually. I actually really want to reread All Fours. Like, I know it made my favorites of 2024 last year, but I'm like struggling to remember details. Like, I really want to reread it and like connect with the text more, and like annotate it and underline it and stuff like that. So I think I might reread it really soon actually. Okay, let's see what else. We're giving the Persians another chance because it's shortlisted for the fucking prize. Oh my god, maybe he gets better. Like I said, up until when I was reading, it wasn't that bad because we got more backstory about the family, and we got some other characters, daughters and grandchildren, which was really quite interesting, and they were not that annoying. It's just Aunt Shireen that pisses me off a little bit. But I'm gonna pick this up again, and yeah, we'll see. Tell Me Everything by Elizabeth Strout is also on the list. I have never read Elizabeth Strout. Should I? The Save Keep! Yay! I'm so happy for that book. Yeah, that book was really good. I remember reading it in December, and I really enjoyed it. The third half was mind blowing. You guys have to read it. And then the last one is Fundamentally by Nisan Yunis. I saw that one on the long list, and it didn't really catch my attention. I think it's like a dark satire about ISIS, something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure that I want to read that. I'm not sure like dark satires are like my thing. All right, so that was the short list. I'm actually not mad about it at all, except for the Persians. I'm gonna give it another chance. I wouldn't finish it in this vlog because I'm gonna be wrapping it up now. But if I finish it, it will be on a April wrap up for sure. And if I don't, it will be in the DNF section of my April wrap up. For winners, I don't know what they will choose. I'm just glad that Good Girl was nominated. All Fours and The Safe Keep, those are like excellent reads for me. So I really wouldn't be mad if any of those 3 win. If the Persians or Elizabeth fucking Strout wins, I'm gonna be mad. I'll be so happy to talk about the long list or even the short list with you guys down below. So let me know what you guys thought about the books that were shortlisted or even long listed. Do you think that any books were snubbed? I wouldn't have been mad to see The Dream Hotel. Anyways, I'll be wrapping things up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you.